Voice kick against troop pullout from Plateau hotspots. Senator Natasha shot out of National Assembly in failed comeback. Food vendors struggling under Lagos cost of living pressure. On the foreign scene, South African president sacks minister over corruption claims. Hello and welcome to News Hour on Trust TV. I am Maimuna Bagudu. Now, two prominent Islamic groups, Jama'atul Nasr Islam (JNI) and Jama'atul Izalatul Bil Adwal Ikmati Sunnah (Jimwis), have strongly opposed the proposed withdrawal of soldiers from security flashpoints in Plateau State and their replacement with mobile police officers. Groups made their positions known in separate interviews with Trust TV in Jos, the Plateau State capital. Ado Musa completes the report.
The Special Envoy on Peace and Security to Governor Caleb Mutfwang, Professor Chris Kwaja, had on Friday issued a statement urging the federal government to consider replacing soldiers deployed in volatile areas of the state with mobile police officers, claiming they will be better situated to handle the security situation. The call came just 2 days after an attack in Tahoe's community, Riom local government area, where 27 persons were killed. Reacting to the development, both JNI and Jibwish rejected the state government's suggestion, describing it as ill-timed and potentially harmful to the fragile peace in the region.
The view of the Muslim Ummah is that we have no objection whatsoever to the continuous presence of the military on the plateau as far as peace enforcement is concerned. And our reasons are like this. One is that the military came in because the police could not do it. And when the military came in, they did it professionally. They were very patriotic, and they look at us as Nigerians having a disagreement between brothers, and they were very fair and balanced in their approach to issues. They promoted dialogue between these communities, which the police couldn't do. They promoted dialogue. They made sure that, of course, people came together once more.
A ɗebe sojoji daga jiha kaza da jiha kaza, ko ya ce a ɗebe 'yan sanda daga.
We do not support the call to withdraw soldiers from flashpoints. It is not beneficial to the security of lives and property. Since the outbreak of violence in the state, soldiers have been doing their best to restore order. We have confidence in all federal security agencies, including the police. We do not support the removal of soldiers or the police. Rather, we support a combination of all security agencies. Both religious leaders call on the state government to support the military and other security agencies rather than reduce their presence, emphasizing the importance of collaboration in the fight against insecurity.
The Plateau State government should continue the cooperation with the military. It should continue to support the military in whatever they are doing in Plateau. It is for the interest of Plateau, it is for the interest of Plateau citizens, it is for the interest of Nigeria. The military are not only on ground in Plateau, they are on ground in many other parts of the country. And I have not heard anybody anywhere complaining that the military should leave. Nowhere in this country, nobody has ever said the military should leave. Why will it be the case in Plateau? I think there is something that we have to ask ourselves.
Ga gwamnatin Najeriya ta tarayya da ta jihohi.
We call the Plateau State government and other citizens of the state to support the military in the peace process. We also call on all citizens to unite and live peacefully, irrespective of their religious differences. Although Plateau State has witnessed recurring violent attacks since 2001, the deployment of soldiers and other security personnel has played a critical role in maintaining relative peace in affected communities. Ado Musa, Trust TV News, Jos.
Now, bandits on Monday raided Ruwangodia community in Faskari local government area of Katsina State, killing one and abducting several others. The attack followed the failure of the community to pay 50 million naira in exchange for the farmers to carry out their farming activities. Ruwangodia residents had earlier negotiated with the bandits and enjoyed about 4 to 5 months of uninterrupted peace. However, the negotiation failed due to disagreement between them when the bandits requested for a tractor to work on the farm of one of the bandits' kingpins, and the residents declined to honor the request. Now, following the disagreement, the bandits taxed Ruwangodia residents an extra 25 million naira in addition to an earlier 25 million that had already been paid. Eyewitnesses in Ruwangodia told Trust TV News that it was the failure to pay the 25 million naira as well as an extra 2 million for laborers to work in the bandit leader's farm that prompted the attack. 13 children trafficked and sold to buyers in Anambra State had been rescued by the Adamawa State Police Command and are set to be reunited with their families. The development was announced during the command's quarterly press briefing, as reported by Trust TV's Gibson Swadigo.
For over 2 years, the children had been separated from their families after falling prey to a well-organized child trafficking syndicate. Their freedom comes as a result of a covert operation launched by the police acting on credible intelligence. The Commissioner of Police, Maurice Ankombo, said the successful rescue was the outcome of painstaking investigation and surveillance. He confirmed the arrest of a female suspect alleged to specialize in adopting and selling children across state lines.
The key suspects among them include one Mrs. Ngozi Abdulwahab, 43 years old, a resident of Jambutu Yola North, LGA. Mrs. Uche Okoye, 55 years, a resident of Kabiku, Inewi, Anambra State. These two women were responsible for the multiple child stealing and trafficking cases from Adamawa to Anambra State and other parts of the country.
Grateful parents were overwhelmed with emotions during the reunion. For many, it marked the end of a nightmare they feared might never end.
I
am grateful to God. I have given up on seeing her again, but God has brought her back to me. I am grateful to God.
In addition to the rescue, the operation led to the recovery of firearms, live ammunition, stolen electronics, including mobile phones and computers, as well as charms and other evidence now central to ongoing investigations. Gibson Soadugo, Trust TV News, Yola.
Traffic was stalled on Tuesday on the ever-busy Naibawa axis of the Zaria Road in Kano after some angry youths blocked the road for almost an hour to protest against a speeding convoy that injured 2 passengers that were on board a tricycle. The convoy is said to be that of a commercial bank suspected to be transporting cash, hit the tricycle near Naibawa flyover and zoomed off without checking on the victims. Eyewitnesses said even after hitting the tricycle, the convoy also fired tear gas to scare the angry crowd that came to rescue the victims before proceeding with their journey. Mohammed Saidu, an eyewitness, said it took an intervention of a divisional police officer to calm the youths down and make them agree to leave the road. Angered by how the convoy abandoned the victims in blood without checking on them, the youths, mostly tricycle riders, blocked the road, which is the gateway to Kaduna and Abuja from the commercial city, burning tires and demanding justice for the victims. When Trust TV visited the scene, normalcy had been restored and commuters continued to ply the road freely.
Dated tricycle and a bullion van were involved in the accident. The bullion van hit the tricycle and the tricycle rider broke his leg, while 2 other passengers were injured. The bullion van did not stop and sped away.
The senator representing Kogi Central, Natasha Apoti Uduaga, on Tuesday decried her denial of access to the National Assembly complex despite a valid court order nullifying her suspension, vowing to seek redress at the appellate court. Natasha, who was suspended by the Senate earlier this year for 6 months, on Tuesday attempted to resume legislative duties following a ruling by Justice Binta Nyako of the Federal High Court in Abuja, which declared her suspension unconstitutional and ordered her immediate reinstatement. However, upon arriving at the National Assembly, security personnel at the gate blocked the Kogi Central lawmaker, sparking fresh controversy over the Senate's compliance with judicial directives. Speaking to journalists shortly after the incident, Apoti Uduaga condemned the action as a blatant disregard for the rule of law and accused Senate President Godswill Akpabio of contempt.
Through 2 letters that I would be resuming functions today. As a matter of fact, I'm disappointed on 2 grounds. One is the number of armed policemen that we met outside, all well kitted with guns, charged at a female senator who is unarmed with her people here, patriotic Nigerians. And the second thing is the fact that the Senate, under the leadership of Godswill Akpabio, have decided to become lawbreakers and by denying me entrance into the chambers to resume my duty. There's been some conversations in the media by his own team trying to twist the narrative that the judge did not order my reinstatement, and I'd like to clarify that. You see, pursuant to Section 318 of the 1999 Constitution, it is very clear that decisions of a court comes in 5 ways. It could be a judicial decree, it could be a sentence, it could be an order, it could be a conviction, and it could be a recommendation.
Now, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has condemned threats made against the 2023 Labour Party presidential candidate, Peter Obi, saying any harm directed at Obi affects all well-meaning Nigerians. In a post on X on Tuesday, Atiku said a threat against Peter Obi or any other opposition politician is a threat against all. Atiku's reaction follows a viral video in which the governor of Edo State, Godwin Okpebholo, was heard warning Peter Obi not to enter Edo State without his permission. Now, the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has defended Edo State Governor Monday Okpebholo over the recent controversies surrounding Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi's visit to Benin City. Wike, speaking during the commissioning of the new Edo Line transport terminal on Tuesday in Benin City, said Obi should stop playing to the gallery and politicizing governance matters. The former Rivers State governor argued that Okpebholo did not bar Obi from entering Edo, but only requested prior notice for security coordination. The minister urged Okpebholo to remain firm in his decisions, stating that he has his support. Wike's comments follow backlash over Okpebholo's remarks last Friday warning Obi against visiting Edo State without security clearance. As of press time, Obi was yet to personally issue any response to the warning. The People's Democratic Party has labeled President Bola Tinubu a poor choice for Nigerians ahead of the 2027 presidential election. Speaking to journalists in Abuja, the PDP National Publicity Secretary, Debo Ologunagba, on Monday asserted that the party is the only one with the capacity to defeat President Tinubu and the All Progressive Congress. Addressing the recent defection of some of its members to the APC and the newly formed coalition under the African Democratic Congress, Ologunagba stated that the PDP is organic and remains formidable. Ologunagba emphasized that the PDP remains solid despite the noise surrounding defections, stressing that the true strength of the party lies in the loyalty of its members.
One other thing that will be considered in the next meeting will be the ratification of concluded congresses across the country. Some state, some local government, and some wards. Of course, the NWC had considered that in line with the normal procedures. After the processes, they will have to present it before the NEC, the NWC, and of course the NWC will approve subject to ratification of NEC, and that of course will be available there. I need to brief you about the state of our party today, because I'm sure that you're very strong. And we have started the process of recalibrating, coming together in unity, because the strength of this party is in the people across the country, in the local areas. And so it must be established that we're focused, we're recalibrating, we're united, and we're working together and working towards having a very successful national convention.
And now we move to Oshun State, where the state chapter of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, has laid to rest the controversy surrounding the rumored defection of Governor Ademola Adeleke to the All Progressive Congress, APC, announcing that the governor remains in the party. The party in the state has also endorsed President Bola Tinubu for re-election in the 2027 presidential election. These were contained in a communique signed at the end of Oshun State PDP Leadership Caucus meeting held at Government House Osogbo on Monday and made available to newsmen on Tuesday. The meeting, which had prominent leaders of the party in attendance, contended that the majority of the members of the APC in Oshun State were opposed to the idea of the defection of Governor Adeleke to the party, which they claimed did not originate from the governor in the first instance. The PDP leaders therefore resolved that Governor Adeleke and all members of the PDP in Oshun State should remain in the PDP. Now, cooperatives in Nigeria have the potential to be powerful tools for addressing a range of societal challenges, particularly poverty and limited access to financial services. They also offer training programs and workshops to enhance members' financial literacy and entrepreneurial skills. However, many cooperatives face critical challenges, especially inadequate funding and lack of institutional support, limiting their capacity to operate efficiently and deliver maximum benefits to their members and society at large. Jos TV's Bello Musa has more in this report.
Cooperatives are designed to support their members' financial needs while boosting their collective economic power and aspirations. They place financial tools and opportunities directly into the hands of everyday citizens.
Part of the work that cooperative society does, there is what we call contribution. That contribution, in Hausa they call it adashi, is very important. It helps you keep money instead of spending money like anyhow. You just be keeping some 100 naira, some 200. You just see as it's nothing. Weekly, some they keep it daily, but when they come for a meeting, they will now give for all those days that they didn't keep their money. So at the end of the day, you see a woman packing 50,000, 100,000, depending on how big the cooperative society and the members they have in the cooperative. Some you see somebody collecting 500,000.
Farmers, they contribute a lot because they kind of help themselves. The cooperative societies, if a cooperative society is strong enough, the rate of unemployment will be reduced, and then people, I bet you, if the government should assist farmers, youths we have, because we have teeming youths who are doing nothing, just lingering around about, looking for trouble, making trouble, people drinking and taking drugs and what have you. If the government should organize these youths to kind of train them into farming, believe me, there will be food security in this country.
They believe forming cooperative society is a key strategy to reduce unemployment. However, sustainability remains a major concern due to limited funding.
Challenge in da ake samu shine gaskiya na kuɗi ne.
Our challenge is fund. Most of our members don't have money to go into farming and they are afraid of loans from the bank.
Muna encouraging din su cewa idan za su yi.
While cooperatives offer access to loans at lower interest rates compared to informal money lenders, many still struggle due to weak legal frameworks, hindering their potential to make lasting impact.
If something is coming from the federal government, you realize that if you don't have registration of the CAC and so on, you cannot have access. You know, this cooperative society, you register them under the state government or even in your local government offices. That is where you go and make your registration and so on. So when things come from the federal government to help people with small scale businesses, you will find out that these cooperative societies, this intervention doesn't really go to them because of this hindrance of having some kind of registration that they're supposed to have earlier.
Numerous government policies aimed at addressing Nigeria's socio-economic challenges. Questions persist. Is the government ensuring fairness in providing accessible and affordable finance to cooperative societies?
Well, in fact, most of them are just lip services. Sorry to say, most of them are lip services. They promise you they will give you this. Before you know it, those that are not in the farming sector, they benefit more than the farmers.
Our cooperative is weak because we don't receive any intervention. With many communities unaware of the benefit and potential of cooperatives, stakeholders are calling for more community enlightenment and the establishment of strong government-backed programs and policies to support the growth of the cooperative sector. Bella Musa, Trust TV News Kaduna.
Now, traders of fufu, a staple food made from fermented cassava in the Agege area of Lagos State, are experiencing shrinking profits due to the rising cost of raw materials and transportation. Many are struggling to sustain production, especially those who cannot afford modern processing equipment. The report.
Fufu, a staple food popular across Africa and Nigeria, made from fermented cassava and eaten with various soups, is now feeling the heat of Nigeria's economic inflation. Production methods vary, as some prepare it manually by pounding or stirring over fire, while others use gas to cook and industrial mixers for smoother processing. However, many Nigerian women who have turned fufu production into a means of livelihood now face serious setbacks. With the soaring cost of production, fuel and packaging materials coupled with the physical demands of manual preparation, some traders have been forced to suspend production. Those who continue say they make very little profit after covering their production costs.
The price of fufu is 15,000 per tempo. That's how they call tempo. So a normal buy, if I buy, I will turn it to a sugar bag, 3 sugar bag. It's 3 in 1 sugar bag, making 45,000. Plus the transport, making 75,500 down to my place. So if I buy it like this, I will start to prepare it by myself, draw one with cooking it, and use my machine and mix it to start to supply to my customer.
We have size by size. We have the one of 100 naira, the one of 200, 500, and the one of 1,000. This one I'm buying exactly is 100 naira. We have the one of 200 naira. And we have the one of 1,000 naira. The one of 1,000 naira. This is the size.
12, 1,000. This one, my gain is 200. You hear? This big one, 6, 1,000. 200 na gain. If I buy them cold, Me, I go buy shako, I go warm am. She go hot. People will like hot. Oh, say, Mama, I want buy fufu, hot one, hot one, hot one. Now him do am. Now my gain for big one, 200.
I buy fufu. Reason why fufu is the food that will make me satisfied than any other swallow, because it depends the type of job that I do. So if I eat fufu, it hold my tummy than any other swallow.
The traders also pointed out that the cost of transporting cassava from other states to Lagos is a major burden, as cassava is not locally grown in Lagos. In addition, the cost of packaging materials such as nylon wraps continues to rise sharply. Overall, Nigeria's economic inflation is not only affecting fufu producers but also consumers, whose reduced purchasing power has led to declining demand. Fufu traders are therefore calling on the government to help subsidize transportation and provide easier access to production equipment to keep this essential local food affordable and business sustainable.
Roads are a vital part of any society's infrastructure, serving as essential channels for the movement of people, goods, and services. In Benue State, residents and road users have commended the administration of Governor Hyacinth Alia for its commitment to road construction, describing the efforts as a step towards building a new and better Benue. Jos TV's correspondent in Makurdi, the state capital, gathered reactions from locals on the impact of these ongoing road projects on the daily lives. The report.
The construction of new roads and rehabilitation of existing dilapidated ones have become a major focus of the Aliyu administration in Benue State. Residents and commuters in Makurdi, including Peter Oka, expressed optimism, describing the road projects as a welcome development. He praised the seriousness with which the government is handling the work, saying it will greatly benefit the people upon completion.
This place was a place that was most like a refuse dump. Because every nonsense that drained from high level, it was usually coming to deposit here. But look, we have got a very peaceful environment now. And I want to tell the governor to keep on with his good work. It is going to definitely yield a fruitful result. And if the government is making this effort, we on our part too has to collaborate with him, collaborate with her in making sure that all this good work yield a fruitful result.
Another road user, Lucy Doku, highlighted the importance of the ongoing expansion of key roads, such as the Makurdi-Gboko Federal Road and Ishabakud Road, noting that the improvements will significantly ease transportation and urged the government to remain committed to completing the projects.
For how many years we have been suffering here because of this drainage issue, but this time around, God now locate us that our suffering now will be end. Since how many days that rain have been falling, nothing like what again. At least we sleep very fine, we sleep happy, there is nothing of break attack. Before if the rain started, we cannot sleep. All our children will be stranded, but we thank God for our daddy.
A motorist, Chinedu Osando, acknowledged the temporary inconveniences caused by the road diversions and delays, but said the public is largely supportive of the administration's efforts.
This is Abako. I know the time. There is time soldier checkpoint day here, and I'm very happy. And right now they want to expand this road. It's very, very nice. It's very, very good, because I know how my state be. And thank God, the Benue State, God is already intervened in this Benue State.
Residents remain hopeful that upon completion, the roads will stimulate economic activities and improve accessibility across both urban and rural areas in Benue State.
The Executive Committee of Gayam Ward has dragged the embattled Nasarawa State Chairman of the All Progressive Congress APC, Aliyu Aliu, before the Federal High Court sitting in Lafia. The move follows his alleged refusal to stop parading himself as state chairman despite being suspended over alleged anti-party activities. The report.
The plaintiffs approached the Federal High Court in Lafia seeking an order to restrain Aliyu Aliu from identifying himself as a member or chairman of the APC in Nasarawa State, following his suspension by the Ward Executive. Counsel to the respondent, Otsi Ogu, argued that the prayers of the plaintiff were premature since the substantive suit was yet to be heard. He maintained that the plaintiff's request was speculative and not grounded in the facts before the court. During proceedings before Justice Mobolaji Olajuwon at Federal High Court 1 in Lafia, the plaintiff's counsel prayed the court to grant an ex parte order restraining Aliyu Bello from suspending the ward chairman and members of his executive committee. In response, Justice Olajuwon ruled that the court lacked jurisdiction to grant such an ex parte order at this stage of the case. However, the judge cautioned both parties against taking any actions that could prejudice the outcome of the substantive suit. He urged legal counsels to properly advise the client.
Because we filed a motion of notice seeking the court to restrain the second respondent, Dr. Aliyu Bello, from parading himself as a member of APC and APC chairman for the state. But the court, in its own wisdom, have decided that it will be more appropriate if the originating summons is heard, because the prayers in the motion or notice is similar, even though differently couched, than with the prayers in the originating summons.
Court, in her own wisdom, on the strength of what is before her now, court advised that nothing should be done beyond what is before her now. But whatever happened in the past, as I stood up to even address the court, that this is an interlocutory, originating motion. Issues or argument are canvassed by ways of document. Document speaks for itself, and everything we are next will actually be shown or be revealed to the Honorable Court.
The case has been adjourned to September 25 for hearing. Now, the Nigerian Senate has refuted recent social media claims that the Constitution Review Committee proposed creating 12 new states in Nigeria. Senator Abdul Ningi, representing Bauchi Central, dismissed the report as false during Tuesday's plenary, under Order 42, clarifying that the committee has neither received any zonal review report nor deliberated on state creation bills. The Senate President Godswill Akpabio also expressed concern about the spread of such misinformation, highlighting it as a threat to national unity and public trust. Further clarification emphasized that the ongoing constitutional review involves public hearings across Nigeria's 6 geopolitical zones, gathering suggestions including requests for new state and local government areas, but no formal decisions or approvals have been made by the Senate or its committees.
The social media report that the National Assembly has penciled 12 states is fake, is toxic, and is an irresponsible media outlet. So it is important, Mr. President, to take this matter to Nigerians, that the Senate has not, for now, sat on any committee's report from the zonal levels. The main committee is yet to even received no evaluate any report.
It's important the public knows that the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria has not even concluded the processes of getting a final report for deliberation on constitutional amendment. And therefore, no single state, proposed or otherwise, has been created. And even if that were to be the case, it will involve all the houses or assemblies in the country, and we must get their 2/3 concurrence before anything can come back to us.
The House of Representatives has condemned the U.S. government's decision to downgrade Nigerian visa status, calling it disrespectful to the strong ties between both countries. Adopting a motion of urgent public importance sponsored by Representative Mohammed Mukhtar and 5 others, the House urged the U.S. Embassy in Nigeria and the U.S. Department of State to look into the policy and reinstate the 5-year multiple entry visa for Nigerian citizens in the spirit of mutual respect and reciprocity.
Lawmakers also mandated the Nigeria-US Parliamentary Friendship Group to relay this stance to US authorities and directed the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to engage diplomatically to protect citizens' rights.
further notes that the imposed 3-month single entry visa will inflict significant consequences across multiple spheres, including businesses constraints, academic disruption and diaspora, and family strain.
The House also moved to investigate the ongoing crisis at the University of Calabar's Faculty of Dentistry, where over 300 students have been affected due to overadmission beyond the MDCN's quota. The motion, co-sponsored by Representative Kingsley Chinda and Ahmed Jaha, urged the university to stop all punitive actions and work with stakeholders on solutions like phased induction and transfers. They also called on the NDCN to reconsider a temporary induction plan for eligible students.
This situation has resulted in a complete academic standstill, with the university authority recently directing all students in the Faculty of Dentistry across all levels to vacate campus indefinitely, pending a resolution of the impasse.
A member of the House of Representatives from Akwa Ibom, Mark Esset, has defected from the People's Democratic Party, PDP, to the All Progressives Congress, APC. His defection was announced on Tuesday by Deputy Speaker Benjamin Kalu during plenary.
I had already tendered my resignation letter to my former party, the PDP. I had joined the APC. Order, please, both at my ward level, the local government level, and the state level. This was after due consultation with my constituents. This position is due to irreconcilable crisis rocking the party PDP at the national level.
Esset, who represents the Uyo, Uruan, Nsitatia, Ipasipo Asutan Federal Constituency, said his decision was due to the ongoing crisis within the PDP's national leadership.
Now, policymakers and stakeholders in the climate change space have been exploring the gaps in government response, actionable solutions, and the vital role the media plays in tackling the growing menace of environmental crimes. Speaking to Trust TV's Noel Samson, they said addressing noticeable lapses in government vis-a-vis the role of the media will ensure that cross-border environmental crimes are reduced to the barest minimum. A report.
Climate change and environmental crimes are deeply interconnected. Crimes such as illegal mining, deforestation, and wildlife trafficking not only degrade ecosystems and pollute the environment but also contribute significantly to climate change, and in turn are worsened by its effects. In West Africa, cross-border environmental crimes are a major concern. Activities such as illegal logging, wildlife trafficking, and unregulated mining are rampant and often driven by transnational crime networks. These activities fuel environmental degradation, threaten biodiversity, and contribute to regional instability. Key policymakers and experts who spoke with Trust TV identified gaps in enforcement, coordination, and awareness, while also pointing towards actionable steps forward.
In West Africa, we have a very interesting ecosystem that has a combination of both the Sahel and the rainforested region, and we have a large population size, about 400 million people in West Africa, but there are a lot of people who cannot sustain livelihood, and all of these are a consequence of the inability of their natural environment to support their livelihood.
The West African countries need to strengthen cooperation, international cooperation. This is the time we need to strengthen multilateralism. This is the time we need to accentuate international cooperation, because it is international cooperation, regional cooperation, sub-regional cooperation that we can address most of the challenges that are facing the sub-region.
It's not only government that should be championing this fight against illegal logging and charcoal production, be it in Nigeria, be it in the Gambia, be it in any other part of West Africa. The important thing that we need to communicate here is that people should own their environment. The environment is for all of us. Your local environment is what you should preserve.
It can be enforced firstly if the people know about the laws. So even if the laws are there and people don't know about them, it will be difficult for us to implement or enforce the law. So first thing to do is awareness, really, so that people will be aware. When they are aware, then implementation or enforcement becomes easy.
The media, they emphasize, plays a vital role in the fight against cross-border environmental crimes by raising public awareness, investigating and exposing illegal activities, and holding both perpetrators and complicit institutions accountable. However, this road is not without significant challenges.
Many Nigerian agencies that ordinarily should be public agencies prefer to hoard information from journalists. Information around their budgetary expenses, their activities, their actions and inactions related to climate or environmental issues in different parts of the country. They are not willing to release such information. And even when journalists submit freedom of information requests that mandates them to release such information, many of them still do not.
Combating environmental crime is critical for protecting ecosystems, public health, and global economies. As climate change accelerates, so too must the urgency and coordination of responses across sectors, including government, civil society, and the media. Noel Samson, Trust TV News, Abuja.
The Monetary Policy Committee of the Central Bank of Nigeria has retained monetary policy rates at 27.50%. Governor of the Central Bank, Olayemi Kadoso, made a disclosure while briefing the media after the 301 NNPC meeting in Abuja. According to him, the committee voted to retain monetary policy rates and other parameters. He said the decision was premised on the need to sustain efforts in curbing inflation and sustain price as it will address emerging monetary pressures.
The committee decided to maintain the current monetary policy stance and hold all policy parameters constant as follows. 1. Retain the monetary policy rate MPR at 27.50%. 2. Maintain the asymmetric corridor around the MPR at plus 500 to minus 100 basis points. 3. Retain the cash reserve ratio, CRR, for deposit money banks at 50% and for merchant banks at 16%. And 4. Keep the liquidity ratio unchanged at 30%. The decision was premised on the need to sustain the momentum of disinflation and sufficiently contain price pressures.
Now, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPC Limited, says it has remitted 6.96 trillion naira to the Federation account within the first 5 months of 2025. The NNPC monthly report summary for June, released on Monday, revealed that it posted a profit after tax of 905 billion naira for June 2025, marking a decline from the 1.054 trillion naira reported in May. In spite of the drop in monthly profit, it confirmed a total statutory remittance of 6.961 trillion naira to the Federation account from January to May 2025. Up from 5.583 trillion naira recorded between January and April of the same year. It indicated a steady rebound in upstream activities, with daily crude oil and condensate production rising to 1.68 million barrels per day, the highest since January. It showed that the NNPC's revenue in June stood at 4.571 trillion naira, down from 6.008 trillion naira in May, reflecting fluctuations in the global oil market. According to the report, fuel availability improved as well, with petrol availability at NNPC retail stations increasing to 71% in June from 62% in May. Now, the president of Dangote Group, Aliko Dangote, has revealed that the construction of Africa's largest oil refinery required the importation of 150,000 containers, with the majority routed through the port in Lome, Togo. Dangote said this unprecedented logistics effort underscores the scale and complexity of building the 650,000 barrels per day refinery and highlights the numerous infrastructure and regulatory challenges faced during the project's execution. Speaking at the Global Commodity Insights Conference on the West African refined fuel market on Tuesday in Abuja, Dangote outlined how existing port capacity in Nigeria was insufficient for the project's needs. He noted that transporting such vast quantities of materials was just one of the significant technical obstacles confronting the refinery. The site, spanning more than 2,700 hectares, 70% of which was originally swamplands, required raising and sand filling to ensure stability. Construction of the facility also included installation of millions of meters of piping and cabling, adding that the refinery was built to process volumes and weights previously unseen on the continent. Now, away from Nigeria, South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa on Monday dismissed his embattled higher education minister, weeks after the key party in his unity government filed criminal charges accusing her of lying to Parliament. Ramaphosa has faced mounting pressure in recent months as several ministers from his African National Congress ANC party have been accused of corruption, deepening tensions within the 10-party ruling coalition. The second largest group in government, the Democratic Alliance DA, earlier this month filed a complaint accusing Minister Mbuha Nkambani of lying to Parliament to cover up the fraudulent appointment of ANC-linked figures to Education Authority boards. Now, the United States on Tuesday announced it has left UNESCO, saying the UN Cultural and Education Agency, best known for establishing World Heritage sites, is biased against Israel and promotes divisive causes. The U.S. exit was expected under President Donald Trump, who also ordered withdrawal from the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization in 2017 during his first term. President Joe Biden then re-established U.S. membership. State Department spokeswoman Tammy Bruce described UNESCO as working to advance divisive social and cultural causes and being overly focused on UN sustainability goals, which she described as the globalist ideological agenda. Bruce also highlighted what she said was the body's anti-Israeli position in admitting Palestine as a state. Trump was not the first to pull the United States out of UNESCO. President Ronald Reagan ended U.S. membership in the 1980s, saying the agency was corrupt and pro-Soviet before it re-entered under the presidency of George W. Bush. It's time for sports update with Adeni Aji Shafe. Let's take a look.
The Super Falcons sealed their place in the final of 2024 Women's Africa Cup of Nations in a hard-fought victory over defending champion South Africa in a 10 semi-final clash at the Labizaoli Stadium, Casablanca, Morocco. Goals from Rashida Lajibade and Michelle Alozie were enough to edge Bayana and keep the Super Falcons' dream of a record-extending 10th title alive. Nigeria started well, creating chances, though failed to capitalize on their dominance with poor finishing. South Africa threatened on the counter-attack as Nigeria's defense remained organized, keeping their record of not conceding a single goal at the tournament intact. The breakthrough came just before halftime when the Super Falcons were awarded a penalty. A captain Rashid Ajibade scored from the spot, giving her side a deserved 1-0 lead into the break. In the second half, Nigeria conceded a penalty with Linda Motlalo scoring to draw level for South Africa. Coach Josie Madugu injected fresh energy into midfield with Christy Uchebe replacing Jennifer Echegini, while Alimatu Ayinde made way for Deborah Abiodun. Despite the changes, the Super Falcons were unable to find a winner. With extra time looming, a losing lofted ball from Nigerian defense went untouched into the Bayana's net to see the 2-1 victory for Nigeria, sending the team into the final and ending South Africa's title defense hope. That's Sport News. I'm Adeni Ajishafe.
With that, we've come to the end of News Hour on Trust TV. Do well to follow us on all of our social media platforms. And do not forget to follow our live stream on YouTube for more news. I am Maimuna Bagudu. To have a lovely night rest. Bye-bye.